shorten things tonight for all of you. 3 years ago when I spoke to this board, I talked to you about respect. And at this point, I don't know how Dr. Nishino or Michael Johnson can have any self-respect. And that's related to the raises for them and none for what's happening with classified. And if you can't have self-respect, then is there any wonder why the lack of respect that they have for both the certificated and the classified employees in our district? Kathleen, I understand that at the last board meeting you were extremely unhappy about the angry mob that came to the meeting and spoke. And I must agree with you on that one point. I have never in 30 years seen Margaret Rodriguez so angry. But if you can't understand where we're coming from, if you can't understand the spin that the administrators are putting on things, then we might as well hang it up. I had never really understood what the word spin meant until the last board meeting. I carefully listened to every speaker and then to the rebuttal from Bonnie and Jay. I could not believe that after all of the people who spoke about the cutbacks to the preschool speech program, that Bonnie, you clarified things with just enough spin and told us that the district was not doing away with the program in any way. I could not believe what I was hearing. How could you say that after all the speeches from the speech and language specialists who have spoken at the last 2 meetings, how could you just twist all of it and try to wipe away the truth? And how can these administrators hear about the working conditions of our speech teachers, the ones they already face, and say that they are under their ratio? I don't think that there's enough time in their day to add any more preschoolers. Do you realize that if you push this further, we may actually lose several of the veteran speech and language teachers to retirement? Do you realize that losing Kate Jenny Spencer from the preschool program several years ago is why we're forking out so much money for the contracted speech services? Don't you think that you could inadvertently end up having to contract out many, many more speech assignments and pay a fortune when you could just keep what is in place right now? There aren't speech and language teachers pounding on your doors for jobs now, are there? And Jay, how on earth could you have said that you would negotiate with the Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers anytime and any place? This comment would be hilarious if it weren't so far off base, spinning like a top, blowing in the wind, like so much of the rhetoric that you are all fed by this leadership. Do you ever stop to think that just how much of the rhetoric is out and outright lying?
Jackie, thank you for your comments. We've run out of time. Do you want to briefly close?
I'm pretty close. Do you ever stop? Okay. Do you ever stop to think that spin just waters down the truth to the point that we can't even hear it any longer? Do you realize that we are now in April in our negotiations? We have never, ever, ever in the history of Morgan Hill Unified been in negotiations at this point in the year. Do you understand our frustration? Do you hear us? Do you care? I would just soon be home tonight, laying on the couch reading my book. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be unkind to any of you or disrespectful. But guys, something's got to give. Something's got to stop. Something's got to change. Your teachers love this district, and we work really hard. And our negotiators work really hard. And we need you guys to get on board somehow.
Thank you, Jack.